Hill, President to the podium.
He didn't want me to take any questions after. Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here, and it was wonderful to meet so many of you that I did in the last hour, just walking around and seeing where people come from. It's really amazing. I want to acknowledge my colleague, the member here for Thornhill, Laura Smith. You know, Laura and I are together with over 80 members of a caucus that really became a family. And I want to say, Laura, how great it is to be back in Vaughan and to be here with you and to thank you for your leadership in the community. C'est un grand honneur pour moi d'être ici avec vous ce matin. I want to thank John Pegg, our incredible fire marshal. I want to thank him and everybody from the Office of the Fire Marshal and the Ministry of the Solicitor General. And I want to acknowledge also the great chief here, Chief Andrew, right here in Vaughan. And you know, it was just a number of weeks ago, I was there as you brought in, I think it was about 18 new firefighters. I came just before the ceremony, so I had an opportunity to say hello to them. They're amazing, and I want to congratulate everything you're doing here. I want to also acknowledge our phenomenal Deputy Solicitor General, who's not with us today, but Mario Di Tommaso shares my enthusiasm and our commitment for public safety. And for all those here, this is a very important time for us to be together. And it's about the people that keep Ontario safe. It is about the firefighters. It's about the fire prevention officers. It's about the educators. And it's about the support staff. It's about everyone that treats our public safety with such urgency. And it's critical. Just, you know, it's heartbreaking to see the news in Canada just in the last 2 weeks, to leave our homes here in Toronto and to be told that there is an advisory warning that we can't carry on as we used to. We can't take the morning run. We can't take our kids to the park because of the smoke that was coming in from fires in Quebec. And never in my lifetime have I ever recalled a situation like that. When I met with the people here today from Alberta, especially from northern Alberta, it's something that we can't begin to feel how you're feeling, except to say that we're with you every step of the way. And I know our government under Premier Ford and under Minister Graydon Smith, our Minister of Natural Resources and Forestry, whatever we can do anywhere across Canada, you know Ontario will be there. And I want to thank John for always leading the way and coordinating it. And our thoughts are with the family in Bayfield and the Blue Water Detachment area. Tragedy of losing one of our own firefighters just a couple of days ago. It has been overwhelming for me to share John's passion and his brother Matt and everyone that has educated me and acted to be a resource person for me. As I've crisscrossed Ontario, it has been an honor to, as I like to say, stop the car. I have Jerry Cieslik here who takes care of me and keeps me safe. And when Jerry is driving and I see a fire hall, as I did in Kingston, fire hall number 6 just a short time ago, I stop the car. When I was in Brantford last week on a couple of weeks ago on another meeting, I stopped the car. When I was at the United Counties of Leeds and Grenville, I stopped the car. I've stopped the car in Gananoque. I've stopped the car in Thunder Bay. And to me, stopping the car sends a message that public safety matters and that we've never had a government, and Laura Smith can attest to this. We have never had a government in our generation that cares as much about public safety as our government led by Premier Ford. And he takes it very seriously. You know, we were together with John and many of you at the memorial for the firefighters whose names get inscribed each year just south of Queen's Park. I remember that day very vividly. It was the first time I attended a memorial like this. And one of the things that stood out to me was after the service was over, families come with charcoal and a piece of paper, and they rub the names of their loved ones so that it transposes onto that sheet. And I asked the families to tell me about their loved ones and their commitment to public safety. For me, it ties in so well to why we're here today, because through the partnership of John and the Office of the Fire Marshal to create this summit about S.A.F.E.R, about why we need to educate everyone about putting in a smoke detector in their home, ties back to the people that we've lost. Because how many of those people attended a fire in a house that didn't have a smoke detector and an alarm? How many? The numbers speak for themselves, and I know over the next few days you will be talking about it. But for me, it is understanding that there's a lot of work that we as citizens have to do as well with you. It is about this education and awareness, and I know you're going to learn about that. And that's important because we have a responsibility. I can tell you personally what I did. When I knew about this summit, my wife and I said, when's the last time we changed our batteries and our smoke detectors in our own home? We live in New York, and we live in North York. We don't live in New York, we live in North York. A riding I call home. We have a great station, by the way. We're just south of Matt Peg, where Toronto is based. And we called the alarm company for a reason, because we didn't remember the last time our batteries were changed. We thought we did. We didn't know. We didn't think they expired, but it wasn't sufficient. So I said, Rochelle, we have to lead by example. Call the company. And she said, well, what batteries do you want to have changed? We live in a modest 2-story home. I said, change them all. So we have a baseline of when we changed it, and we documented it, and we've checked our fire extinguishers. And even though my youngest is 20 and my oldest is 24, turning 25, we sat them down and we explained, why were we doing this? For us, this just goes to signify the role that each of us have in Ontario. But we need to be educated. We need to be aware. There has to be this attitude and this behavior that our public safety matters. I say it when I was with the Chiefs of Police, the Ontario Association of Chiefs of Police yesterday in the beautiful town of Kingston. It's great to see Kingston here today and the areas that surround Kingston. But it's equally as important for why we're here. Because if we have this inherent right to live in our home safely, to wake up our kids in the morning safely, to bring them home from school safely, we need to make sure we've taken the most easy and minimal step to have a working fire alarm. We're not asking for a lot. And our government, as many of you are aware, has committed to building 1.5 million homes. Laura Smith and I, together with our caucus, are championing this because each year we have hundreds of thousands of people coming into our province. Where are they going to live? We need to have homes that people can live in. And that means we have people coming in from all over the world who will emigrate into Ontario because we have hundreds of thousands of jobs that need to be filled. And for those in the St. Thomas area, you know that the St. Thomas and Woodstock and Ingersoll areas and the London areas will be transformed because of the multi-billion-dollar investments that are taking place, in part to make Ontario the EV capital of the world. But we need homes. And we're going to have to ensure that the people that are coming into Ontario will understand that that's why they have a responsibility as well to learn what is a safe home. A safe home is having a fire extinguisher. It's having a safety plan so you can leave the home if there was an emergency. But it is also having a workable a smoke detector. And it's important. By the way, you know, John, until I became Solicitor General almost a year ago on June 24th, I didn't know myself how long batteries last and smoke detectors. There's still a lot of things I myself have educated myself on, and our families as well. This concept that, it's daunting. 1.5 million homes over the next 10 years will need fire alarms. I want to also salute John's leadership to our First Nations community in Northern Ontario and all over Ontario. I was very sensitized, and I appreciate we have representatives from the First Nations community all over Ontario, and I'm very grateful that you're here. I was sensitized to learn, especially in my role, of the tragedies of the fires that happen in these communities, in First Nations communities in Ontario. I have made it a mission to learn more so that we can do more. We can have a more active role in the communities. And thanks to John's leadership, I sent John up. I think, John, you went through Red Lake or Dryden, but you got there and you made a difference. And I'm grateful for Chief Shirley Keeper there, who helped begin this education locally. And that modeling of education is something that we have to broaden all over Ontario, because our lives matter. And whether it be talking about how we will move forward with simultaneous notification, and the Fire Marshal knows I'm a great fan of his strategy of moving forward with it. We're going to get a consultant, John, and I want to thank the members in the room who helped tell me in Grey Bruce it could be 15 minutes, and in other communities it could be also a matter of life and death. We're going to move on that. Our Office of the Fire Marshal is as proactive as can be by sending 2 messages: that we will be with our communities all over Ontario to help educate, provide the resources through grants and education so that your communities are safe. But the second thing that's also important is sending a message that we have your backs. It's not enough for the people in the room to just hear, we have your backs. And I'm grateful for Premier Ford, because Premier Ford told me on my first day on the job, whatever you think you know about this job and this position as Solicitor General, there's one thing that's more important than anything else: acknowledging and appreciating the people that keep Ontario safe. And those who are our firefighters, the 911 call operators, the volunteer firefighters. I have a tremendous appreciation for the volunteer firefighters, for our police officers, our correctional, probation, and parole officers, for our animal welfare inspectors, those 911 call operators. This umbrella of people that thread a weave of public safety, we will always have your backs. And it's something that we are very proud to say. So as you begin the S.A.F.E.R conference, please know, regardless of this mic working or not, I would have it changed. I can tell you this, it's a great honor to be here. Je prends ma rôle sérieusement. Rien pour moi en tant que solliciteur général n'est plus important que la sécurité de notre province. I take my role very seriously, and there's nothing more important than the safety of our province. And I wish you a wonderful conference, and thank you.